welcome into the Weather Wednesday podcast here at New England Storm Center. So there is a strong cold front making its way through New England right now as I upload this. This is another strong cold front. There have been several pretty potent cold fronts so far this spring. Now these fronts have really been the main factor as to why we really haven't been able to build any prolonged springtime warmth here so far as we get into late May. So this potent cold front will pop a line of rain and thunderstorms. Mostly rain. There will be some thunderstorms. The line will diminish as it enters southern New England. It will likely fall apart rather quickly as it gets toward the Massachusetts border. It'll start falling apart, and there's unlikely to be thunderstorms south in southern New England, at least east of the Berkshire Mountains. And of course, being a cold front, there will be a sharp temperature drop after the front passes. It will be chilly. There'll be a chilly wind after that front. You'll know when that front comes, when you get that burst of wind. It's a chilly northern wind, and you're gonna feel it, especially in those downpours. And this front will set up a cool Thursday. I'm not gonna say it's cold. It's gonna be 50s north, 60s south, so not cold, but certainly plenty below average, a good 10 degrees below average. And then we will start moderating on Friday. So at one point, it looked like there might be a storm to hit New England on Memorial Weekend, but those chances have all but disappeared for us here in New England. The storm looks to stall to our south as high pressure builds in over the weekend with the help of a Rex block. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So we've gotten stuck in a Greenland block and an Omega block so far this spring. Now we're entering what's called a Rex block. The difference with this block is that it will keep the weather generally dry and pleasant, while the previous two blocks gave us cool and unsettled weather. So what exactly is a Rex block? I'll read the official definition from the National Weather Service, and then we'll break it down. And the NWS official definition is actually rather short and straightforward. A lot of NWS definitions can be a little longer and convoluted, but this one is not. So the official definition is a blocking pattern where there is an upper level high located directly north of a closed low. This block can lead to kind of a strange bend in the jet stream that allows warm and dry conditions to the north and cool and showery conditions to the south. So I've written about the stalled low-pressure system near the Carolinas earlier this week on Monday. This low is being blocked in by an area of high pressure just to New England's west. This is the Rex block pattern that is expected to develop. So this type of block does put New England on the warmer and dry side of the block, while the south stays cool. Cool is relative when you're talking about the south this time of year. The other two blocks we've seen has put us on the cool and unsettled side. Greenland blocks will always spell cool and stormy weather for New England, particularly in the winter. There's no questions asked. It will always be cool and stormy with a Greenland block in New England. Now, the Greenland block we were in at the very start of spring gave us that powerhouse nor'easter in the middle of March that dropped over 3 feet of snow on parts of the region. Omega blocks, more often than not, put New England on the cool and wet side. This block was with us in late April and early May, and as per usual with this block, it did give us lots of cool rain showers and cloudy conditions. Blocking patterns are very stubborn and can take a while to break down. Now it looks like this pattern will stay put through this weekend and possibly past this weekend into at least early next week. So once we get to Memorial Day itself, the forecast becomes a bit less uncertain as it's unclear exactly what will break this current block down. The shield this pattern sets up is not completely impenetrable, and the image that I'm showing that's showing the Rex block, that's more of a general look at a Rex block. That's not necessarily exactly how it sets up, especially if the high pressure does end up settling a bit further to the north. The forecast could look a bit different, but as of now, the weekend is looking nice and dry. Temperatures are looking to be warm. I'm not going to go all out and say hot, because it can certainly get hotter in late May in New England, but it is looking to be above average at this time. Certainly better than 2021. Remember 2 years ago, Memorial Weekend? It was just about as cold as it can get this time of year, along with a soaking rain. Let me just, the observed weather for Memorial Weekend 2021, where I am in southern New Hampshire, goes like this: Friday, 54, cloudy. Saturday, 48 and pouring rain. Sunday, 50 and cloudy. Monday, wasn't too bad, 60. Yikes. That year also saw a cold 4th of July weekend. That Saturday, before the 4th of July in 2021, was in the mid 50s and pouring rain again. At least Labor Day was nice that year, though. So those cool holidays in 2021 are part of a bigger pattern that has developed for New England over the past several summers, as I've observed. Summers for nearly a decade now have gone up and down, generally hotter weather every other year. 2016 was slow to start with the heat, but when it did not let up. It was hot. 2017 was cooler with several 60-degree highs in July. 2018 was hot, hot, hot. 2019 was cooler. It was very average in 2019. There weren't many big warm-ups at all, and the heat was very slow to arrive that year. 2020 saw consistent heat. 2021 proved to be a cooler summer, like 2017. They saw multiple 60-degree highs in July, and even that 50-degree high. 2022 was very hot with constant heat. There were nearly 30 90-degree days where I am. And the exact numbers that you're seeing on the charts is for Rockingham County, New Hampshire, but this general trend can be applied to all of New England. So for the last 7 years now, the odd number summers have been cooler while the even numbers have been hotter. Will this continue this year? There are mixed signals about whether this season will be warmer or cooler than average. Now, I'm not a big fan of doing seasonal outlooks because of all the small things that can't be foreseen well in advance that affect the weather. It has been on the cooler side so far. For the most part, we did have our occasional warm-ups, it was nearly 100 in Hartford in the middle of April, but that has become more of the exception to this spring than the rule. I'm thinking this trend will continue in 2023 summer. I think we'll see very average temperatures, much like 2019. So again, this is just an interesting observation I've made about the weather with this whole, every other year thing. It's been continuing, and we'll just have to wait and see. I'll do an update on this whole every other thing in the fall once the summer has wrapped up, and see if we did continue, if there were more, 60, 80 plus degree days, if we were more on the, the 70 to 80 side. We'll have to wait and see. So, on to the resort roundup. Late May, there's not a whole lot to say. The thinning on Superstar is continuing. Of course, that is expected. Killington has given no hints about their operations after Memorial Day. They're definitely going to be open through Memorial Day, but they've given no hints about afterwards so far. And I think that's because they probably don't know if they will be open after Memorial Day or not. I'm sure they have an idea. They know more than me about this, obviously, but they've given no hints. And I think they are in a wait-and-see mode. They're going to have to assess after Memorial Day and see if they'll be able to reopen again. Last week I said that there was less of a chance of making it into June than the week before. I'm going to give it a toss-up. I'm not sure. We all just have to wait and see on Killington. Killington closed on June 4th last year. The first Sunday in June is June 4th because they have two June 4th closures in a row. We'll see. So that is going to do it for this edition of the Weather Wednesday podcast here at New England Storm Center. So as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Keep it right here. Keep it at newenglandstormcenter.com, and you will hear from me again next Wednesday.